Alright, so I've been using the Pixel 6a for the past few days and I'm ready to share my thoughts and experiences with it so far, with a full long-term review on the way after I've had more time with it. So the first thing that jumped out to me was the updated hardware. We're looking at a coated aluminum frame that's easy to hang on to, and while the back is plastic, it doesn't feel cheap, and it sort of kind of feels a little bit like glass. That strip housing the cameras is closer to being flush with the back than the Sixel? No shot, I actually just said the Sixel. Yes, this camera visor thingy is more flush to the back of the phone than it was on the 6 Pro. So there's that. We're looking at a 6.1-inch display, so the phone isn't very big, and honestly, as a lover of large phones that just so happens to use an iPhone 13 mini, I can say that this is a really good size for a phone. Like I said, it's easy to hang on to, it's easy to manage one-handed, it's well balanced, it's not too heavy, not too light. The display is big enough to enjoy games and media on, but it's small enough to where I don't have to perform a bunch of hand gymnastics. The stereo speakers are good, I do like how they sound. The hardware buttons are nice and clicky. I also really dig this two-toned sage colorway. It's a clean look for sure. Overall, the 6a's hardware is pretty rock solid, and a big contributing factor to that is the haptics. The 6a has the best haptic feedback of any phone in its class. Not only that, it's got some of the best haptics of any phone in existence right now. They're strong without being obnoxious, they're crisp and precise. They're just a huge upgrade from previous A-series Pixels, so a big thumbs up to Google for addressing this. It was a pleasant surprise, especially as someone who really appreciates good haptics and how they contribute to the user experience. Something that wasn't a pleasant surprise, you probably know where I'm going with this, say it with me now, the 60 Hertz display. Now let me say this, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think 60 Hertz is something we need to make a huge deal out of. Sure, it'll be a deal breaker for some, but the majority of the people in the market to buy this phone won't even care. I do because of the box that I'm in. Big picture aside, I am quite disappointed that there isn't at least a 90 Hertz refresh rate here. But what about the iPhone? How can you give it a pass when it has 60 Hertz too? Well, to me, it's because of how iOS handles animations. While they're not as quick, they appear smoother. 60 Hertz isn't created equal on every phone, if that makes any sense. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into this. Personally, I just feel that they could have fit a higher refresh rate into this $450 package because, well, other OEMs were able to pull that off. And for me, that would have boosted my already positive outlook on this phone. Oh well. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to dbrand for supporting the channel and sponsoring this portion of the video. I've been using their real leather skins on my iPhone and Pixel 6 Pro. I've got their grip case with their new skin fashioned after the Nothing phone called Something. I love it. Oh, and they've got new skins coming for the Pixel 6a. Look familiar? You can check all of this out and more using the very first link in the description. While we're on the subject of the display, all in all, I think it's good. While it's definitely not the best, it is a solid 1080p OLED panel with HDR, auto brightness works okay, and it does get bright enough to use in direct sunlight. The optical fingerprint scanner has been fine, it's not my favorite, it's not as swift and accurate as other in-display scanners, but it's gotten the job done for me. And no, I haven't experienced that bug where it'll accept unregistered fingerprints from other people. As of the recording of this video, the phone isn't even out yet, but either way, that's kind of a concerning thing if it's a real issue, and hopefully that won't be around upon release. Overall performance is good. I put the phone through just about everything I normally do, and it handled things just fine in terms of speed and whatnot. I don't really care about benchmarks too much if I'm being honest. Refresh rate stuff aside, the phone is quick and snappy, bouncing between applications is smooth. The phone does heat up during use and resource-hungry gaming, which was expected, but I did get a little pop-up saying I couldn't use the flash because the device was too warm. But to be totally fair, I was taking pictures and videos with the hot Texas sun beaming down directly on me. I didn't get any warnings like that otherwise in normal use. Speaking of pictures, here are some shots that I got. I didn't use the cameras as much as I probably should have over the weekend, but by now I feel you know what to expect with Pixel cameras. Interestingly enough though, the main camera is the same 12 megapixel sensor found in some of the older Pixels like the 5 and the 5a. It's also the same sensor found in the Pixel 2, 3, and 4, if I'm not mistaken, so do with that what you will. It's clear that the camera hardware wasn't the top priority with the 6A, which is fine, I suppose. It would be nice to have a newer sensor, but Google's main focus has shifted to that tensor chip and all of the doors that it can unlock on the software side of things. You can still get some really great results here thanks to that software, and thanks to that tensor chip, you get cool things like Magic Eraser. So no, you're not getting that same 50 and 48 megapixel camera duo the 6 Pro has. That'd be pretty unfair to ask for anyway. And sure, it'll be like, boo, old camera sensor to some people, but honestly, this is a proven one. It works, and like I said, you're still getting really nice looking photos and videos. I like the wide and ultra wide combination. You get those neat features. I don't see there's anything to really complain about here. Now when it comes to battery life, it's a little early to come to a full-on conclusion, but so far, so good. I unplugged the phone around 8 p.m. Saturday night, and I got through a full Sunday of high brightness levels, some GPS and Bluetooth use, some gaming, social media, music streaming, hefty picture taking, and I didn't have to plug in until early Monday morning. So it looks like battery endurance, even while traveling, is positive, but we'll have to wait and see how things level out over time. And I'm sure 1080p and 60 Hz are going to help out with this. Now I know it's easy to look at the 6A, focus on what it doesn't have and what you don't like about it. It's easy to compare its spec sheet with others in this price range and base your opinions solely off that. Google obviously cut significant corners to get this thing to the price it's at. While some of those things are worth mentioning, don't let them take away from what this phone actually does have. We can't ask for better cameras, a better display, more RAM, bigger batteries, and all of that stuff and expect the price to stay the same. I mean, you can, but let me know how far that gets you. On its own, I think the 6A is a very nice phone, and at $450, it's an easy recommendation, especially if you were to pre-order one, trade in a Pixel 3A, and knock $300 off the price tag. It's when you start comparing it to other devices where things get a little tricky. Honestly, it's a good problem to face, having a lot of different options to choose from. There are plenty of super solid mid-rangers out there and higher end devices that have come down in price over time, some of which are Pixel devices themselves. But what Google's done here is nail down the groundwork for their phones moving forward. The primary focus has always been the software with how smart and powerful it is. And now, with their own custom chip, they'll be able to unlock more possibilities and features unique to the tensor touting Pixel down the road, and this sub $500 variant will be part of that future. Just keep that in mind. I'll have more to talk about later on when I've had more time spent with this phone. Let me know what you think of the 6A and if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. If you made it to this point of the video, I appreciate you. You are the best. Go ahead and drop a potato down in the comments if you're part of the potato gang. Talk to you in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.